first time! Oh my God, since 2001!
18 years! The last match on TNT was Sting beating Ric Flair, and now the Stinger is here on AEW. Mark it down, Wednesday night, December the 2nd, 2020. This crazy year has just gone insane.
Welcome, cucks of all kind, returning cucks to That's Cucked. I'm your host, Nick. We have a jam-packed show tonight. I'm sorry that it's coming out a day late, $1 short. But yeah, we'll get into it. We got a cucked up story tonight that'll involve a rat, a snake, and cocaine. Stay tuned for that. But the biggest, and you probably heard from the beginning of this video, the biggest news of them all that shocked the radio waves, the interwaves of the interwebs, and that was Sting. Sting is back. We don't know if he's going to be wrestling, but it made me cry, made me jump, it made me jump for joy like a little 10-year-old bitch. It was the best moment of professional wrestling I have ever seen. It was such a surprise. It was such a shock. It was amazing. And we will get into that later on the episode. First, we're going to start right from the beginning of AEW Winter is Coming, which was a free TV show. Can we get that, get that fucking straight here? A free show. Okay, we got that on television, people. It was not a pay-per-view. It wasn't something you were going to pay $50 plus for. It was on TV, on the good old TNT, baby. TNT is professional wrestling once again, okay? They are producing some of the best, AEW, which is on TNT. If you're not understanding what I'm saying, what I'm putting down, son. Yeah, it's just like a crazy fucking time for pro wrestling and pro wrestling fans. We are sitting here not knowing now what's going to happen next, and we'll get into that too. There's a new era starting, unfortunately. And, unfortunately and fortunately for us wrestling fans. But let's get right to it. It started off with the Diamond Ring Battle Royal. The match was alright. I thought it was decent. There were a couple really cool spots. We got a little story development, from Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order. They kind of seemed to help each other out a little bit. They were both kind of vibing. It seemed kind of cool. Unfortunately, Hangman gets eliminated. Matt Hardy's in the match. He's sitting there kicking everybody's ass for a few minutes. Excuse me. Eliminating a few people. Getting crazy, getting wild, looking like the old Matt Hardy, kind of. It was a little weird. But it was cool. We got a lot of story development. It was really cool. After a bunch of people get fucking eliminated, Wardlow and MJF, pretty much throughout the whole match, are walking around in a group of three, Wardlow, MJF, and Sammy Guevara. They walk around the outskirts of the ring the whole match so that they can just be in it at the end. Because they shot this little promo or a little vignette or whatever you want to call it and be technical about it. They shot this little promo and they were saying that, if one of them has the ring, then they all have the ring, technically in the inner circle, whatever. Which I don't even know what the fucking ring does. I don't even remember at this point. I feel like an idiot for not knowing, but it's just a fucking ring that usually gets tossed around to cheat in a match. I'm going to be 100% honest. But anyways, it comes down to a little spot between Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And they're on the outer apron looking like they're both going to get fucking eliminated. And they're sitting there doing these flips and, you know, a little bit of, you know, reversals on the outside. And there's this one time they get up on the top, and then somehow MJF gets pushed by Wardlow, I think, and then they eliminate Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Sammy Guevara, and Sammy's livid. Excuse me. Sammy is pissed because there's already, you know, a little conflict between the two, and now it's just adding. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, and it gets worse throughout the rest of the show too, coming to Jericho and Kazarian, which we'll be talking about next. But basically, they get eliminated. MJF and Wardlow think that they've won. Well, Wardlow doesn't. He knows he's not a fucking idiot. He looks over and Orange Cassidy's on the outside, and he was never eliminated. He just went under the bottom rope. So he's sitting on the outside. He gets, you know, tossed back in. They're about to eliminate him. Some shit happens. MJF gets eliminated, and then Wardlow gets eliminated. Becomes this big thing, and it was cool. I saw on BR Bleacher Report they gave it a C+. I'd agree. It was halfway decent, but nothing you'd, you know, fucking freak out about. Man, these headphones are fucking me up, bro. Oh, we'll actually talk about the Jericho Kazarian match. It was alright. Couple cool spots. The code breaker that Jericho gave Kazarian through the middle ropes. That looked nasty. It was dope. It was pretty cool. There was a flux capacitor, which is Kazarian's move, off the top rope. That was intense. That was sweet. It looked a little dangerous, I will say. It looked like Jericho was about to get landed on his head. That would have been interesting. But at one point, Kazarian gets Jericho in the walls of Jericho for a good little bit. And MJF comes out, and he's about to throw the white towel, you know, to say I quit pretty much. And then Sammy's like, no, motherfucker, like, stop, dude. Like, you're going to ruin this fucking match. And then he's going to be pissed. And then he's going to be like, I never tapped. I'm Chris Jericho. Yeah! And so he ends up preventing MJF from throwing the towel in. And then all of a sudden, there's about to be a couple roll-ups, and then Jericho hits him, baby, with the Judas effect, and then he ends up winning. They get in the ring, all of Inner Circle pretty much. They all start bitching at each other, pushing each other around. Jericho starts telling them, hey, you got 7 days! 7 days! To figure this out. I'm sick of this shit. Looking like a 50-year-old dad yelling at his fucking teenagers that can't deal with each other. It was hilarious. That end of the match made it for me. The match was alright. Bleacher Report gives it a C+. I'd say like a C. C-. It was alright. It was alright. I'd compare it to a little bit better than the women's match, which we'll talk about next. We'll be short and sweet. Just like the fucking Russian bitch in this match. She's literally like 4 foot, it looks like. Britt Baker pretty much beats her. There's a couple cool little spots where they're wrestling on the ground, trying to do like some amateur wrestling. Of course, Britt Baker wins. She ends up beating her with that mandible claw or whatever the fuck she calls it. Where she uses the fucking glove and all that good stuff. She did a sling blade on the outside, and it looked kind of whack. It was alright, but it wasn't sold very well by Layla Hirsch. I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't the best match in the world. It wasn't the worst, but it could have been definitely a lot better. Yeah, there was a couple cool like arm bars where I thought she was gonna rip Britt Baker's arm off, like, actually, on accident. Yo, and I want to say one thing. Do you think, anybody that's been watching Dynamite and stuff, do you think that Tony Schiavone and JR mistake Rebel's name all the time on purpose now? Or do you think that's just like an accident? Because they keep calling this bitch Reba, and her name's Rebel. I don't fucking get it, man. She gets fucking nailed sometimes, though. It was gnarly. She tried to be a distraction, and then, you know, allowed Baker to dive on her fucking Harsh. And then she, you know, locks in that lockjaw and wins. And then this is the story developing with this, which I think this will be a good match. Is Thunder Rosa comes out and she attacks Britt Baker and she fucks her up a little bit. You know, they start going at it and stuff. And then, you know, the refs come out and break that shit up right quick. Because I think that will be a good match. That'll be interesting to see where that goes and then to see where it goes after. Because I think that they should put the women's championship on somebody else. I am so sick of Sheeta. They gave that Britt Baker match C+ on Bleacher Report. I'm going to give it like a D. It was not that fantastic at all. I was bored as shit watching it. There's a couple cool spots, like I said, but bored as shit. And then now we will get into not the main event, but my main event. This made this whole show. Okay. Now, this was a rumor that was out months ago, weeks ago. I don't know how long ago I saw it, but some time ago, okay, was that Sting would be coming to AEW. And that was because WWE took all of his merch off at WWE Shop or whatever their website is. And everyone's thinking, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? So I'm thinking that it was gonna happen at Full Gear. Nothing happened. I was pissed because they made Darby sit up in the rafters for the, you know, weeks leading up. And I just thought it was like so AEW to leave hints like that. They do these little subtle things that, unless you are paying attention to the story, you're not going to even realize. Like during the Kenny Omega Hangman thing, Hangman was standing in the entrance, kind of, you know, looking out when Kenny was with the Young Bucks and realizing, hey, I'm the odd man out. So this at Winter is Coming, man, gave me goosebumps, made me feel a little young again. I know I'm young as it is, but made me just feel like I was 5 watching wrestling again for the first time. It was so gnarly. I'll take you through it, man. So they started off, which I didn't even realize this, but I was just kind of pissed at the time. They started off with a commercial right away. So Bully Ray on the Busted Open podcast mentioned this, that they did that so that they could give the time later on to, you know, live that whole moment as a whole moment, not cut up by a fucking commercial or a picture-in-picture commercial. So that was kind of cool now that, you know, I realized that after listening to that episode. Shout out to them. Love that podcast. So, you know, the match is pretty good. I'm digging it. I'm not a big fan of Powerhouse Hobbs. He's a big fucking beefy ass dude. He's really good. I'm just like, I just need a little bit more time to adjust to him. He's a good character though. I think he can do a lot more. Ricky Starks, I can't fucking stand him, so obviously he's doing his job. He's a fucking piece of shit. Probably not in real life, but your character, bro, your gimmick, fuck you, bro. I always want Darby and Cody to win whenever they're teamed up. They're fucking my 2 faves, besides, you know, my favorite of them all, Sting. He's always been my favorite. That man is the reason I even watch wrestling today. That is the man that I painted my face up like every other little stinger out there. And, you know, gave the little woo, you know, pounding your chest, you know, put your hands up to your mouth, cup it, woo, Yo, that shit was so dope back in the day and now, man. That's how I felt. I probably ruined my neighbor's ears with that shit. I was yelling so loud when he came out. But anyways, we'll get into the match. There was, great spots. I think the finish was great with the coffin drop after Cody Rhodes does the I think he did a crossroads. I'm going to have to look at that again. Let's check that out. Let's watch some of the highlights here. You probably won't be able to see it where you are, but why the fuck is this not working? But yeah, it was a great match, man. I really thought that they were going to just fucking kill Darby and Cody and just kind of make Team Taz look literally unstoppable. And I'm glad they didn't. Like, they still made them look like an unstoppable force because they're just such big dudes. Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs. And that's because Brian Cage comes out fucking later and he's like, I'm a fucking steroid freak. Let me get this up real quick. It was such a great show, though. I can't say that enough, like, to be honest with you. It was so good. Alright, let's see what we got here. Here we go, some match highlights. Of course, Darby with his edgy-ass entrance. Cody with his super overly expensive entrance. I think one thing that's cool about Powerhouse Hobbs is the orange and black that he's, doing the tribute to Taz's old gear. I think that's pretty sweet. I loved the towel shirt that he wore too. Oh my god, Darby Allin is so explosive. He is so fast, man. And Cody is like so fucking beefy now. He's like holding dudes in the air for 30 plus seconds, I feel like. Those chops are always so gnarly. But yeah, it was a good back and forth match. Cody looking at Taz because Taz is pissed that Cody is talking about his son and shit and how his son's training with Cody instead of Taz because Taz is washed up. Okay, there's one spot that scared the shit out of me. Now, Darby I know can take it because he's a resilient motherfucker, okay? And Powerhouse Hobbs ends up clotheslining this dude out on the outside. And Darby sells it so crazy. He does this like flip. Well, he may not even have to sell it because I feel like Powerhouse Hobbs could clothesline this motherfucker and he would flip anyways. But Darby ends up flipping, landing on his fucking head. It looks insane. I thought he was going to be out for the rest of the match. He's out for a good little time. Then he throws him like a rag doll into the fucking grate. What is that? The barrier. My apologies. I sound like a fucking idiot. That dude is so big. Powerhouse Hobbs is probably on steroids. I'm gonna be real. He may just be jacked. I don't know. I could be just a big asshole in saying that, but that dude looks like he's on roids, bruh. Pretty good match. Back and forth. Darby. Little headbutt action. Looked like it was on accident, but it's probably because they're both really good wrestlers, Darby and Ricky Starks. Looking for that hot tag. Ricky Starks gets it. Powerhouse Hobbs is like, no, Darby, you ain't getting shit. Says, fuck you to Cody. Like, literally. Needs to get that tag in. This is where Darby does this sick-ass reversal, flips over Ricky Starks, flips over Powerhouse Hobbs, gets the fucking tag. Cody comes in, gives Powerhouse Hobbs that little kick off the top rope. That fucking slam that he does. That rotating slam. That's fucking that Rhodes tradition, man. Oh, he's getting ready. Oh, not today, son. Darby ends up winning it with that coffin drop. So crazy. Then, fucking Arn Anderson gets in the ring. They get attacked by Team Taz. Brian Cage comes out. It ends up becoming chaos. And then they're about to kill Cody with the FTW belt because it doesn't get any respect at all. And then the lights just go out. Okay? Now, I want you to just imagine this. You're sitting there watching the good guys about to get fucked up. Literally. And all of a sudden the lights go out. Now, my first thought is, who the fuck could be coming out here? Some fucking person from New Japan, something like that. And then one of the first things you see is the screen. Okay? And there's a fucking crow just sitting on this wall. Okay? The lights are like blue. It's still dark everywhere though. And you're just seeing the screen and the two tunnels and the graded stuff in between all the tunnels. And you see a crow. And my hair on my arms has never stood so straight up in my life. I got goosebumps. The hair on the back of my neck's standing up. And I'm just thinking to myself, holy fucking shit. No way. I'm not going to jump the gun though. I'm going to wait. Like everybody else. Just sitting there waiting, thinking. And then it starts to snow in Jacksonville. And all of a sudden, on the screen, it pops up and says, Sting. And the Stinger comes out, man. He comes out from the entrance, and the world blows up. And I think JR summed it up in one sentence. This crazy year has just gone insane. And that's probably not directly what he said, but pretty much what he said. And he is 100%. One of the biggest, craziest moments in professional wrestling this year. WWE had no chance of beating this. Unfortunately, they did deal with, a passing of Pat Patterson. We do have to pay our respects to that. But this had nothing on NXT that night. Snowing in Jacksonville. May have been 40 degrees, but it wasn't really snowing, but they made it snow in that bitch. And Sting comes out, looks at Arn Anderson, and you kind of, if you're a legit 100% old school, professional wrestling fan, even in now professional wrestling, and you just know a little bit, you know that these men have history. These two, it's like two old war buddies that are seeing each other and they know they've been to war. They know what they've done. They know that they got a lot left to go. Or not so much that they have a lot left to go. They're both old as shit. But that they're both there and they probably never thought they'd be there ever again, looking at each other in the squared circle. Arn Anderson's thinking to himself, what the fuck? And Sting looks down at Dustin. And one of the moments that really got me is Sting crouching down, looking at Cody. And Cody's biggest inspiration, favorite wrestler of all time, probably his idol, is Sting. And Bully Ray on Busted Open said it perfectly. Sting looked at him and said, pretty much he didn't say anything. He walked in the ring and didn't say a fucking word, but said so much at the same time. And he looked at Cody and I love your father. I loved what he did. He was just as important to me as anybody else. And it looks like to me he's looking at him saying, all right, let's go. Let's fuck shit up. He taps that bat down a couple times and then walks over to the future Darby Allin and gets real close so that he can look him in the eye. And he gives him the little, kind of Michael Myers head turn or head tilt. It was kind of cool. But you could tell Darby's like, holy fuck, this is happening. And I think that a lot of good and a lot of great things is going to come from this. It's going to be one of the craziest, most interesting time we will probably see in professional wrestling for a long time ever again. It is going to be the most insane couple weeks, the most insane couple months, and it's not just with that storyline there. Next week on Dynamite, we're going to hear from Sting. He's going to talk. So we'll find out what his intentions are. He signed a multi-year deal. He's already got fucking shirts and hats and hoodies on the fucking website literally 10 seconds after he's fucking debuting. And it was insane. It was beautiful. I jumped up as soon as I saw Sting. I jumped up, threw my fucking hat off. I had my Moxley vest on. I threw that shit off. I was like, oh my God, it's Sting. It's Sting. And I just went nuts. And probably the whole world heard me. But it was insane. I lived that moment. I'm glad I lived that moment. It was crazy. I can't say it enough. And then we get to the main event, which I said this was going to happen. I said it a million fucking times, even though Tony Khan has said that Moxley is not going to Japan to wrestle in the WK15. I believe that's what it is. And, yeah, so I don't know what the fuck's going to happen with this. Kenny Omega and Moxley have a pretty great match. I don't understand why they were never counted out. They stayed on the outside for a good little bit of time. Not too much, but they had a couple cool spots. I thought Omega really did get hurt at one point when he got smashed into the heater light speaker looking thing. And it looked like when he came down on his head. So I was like, oh shit, now we're dealing with another knockout situation, you know? So it was pretty decent though. Couple really good spots. I liked at the end that I don't like that Don Callis dude. That dude can suck a fucking dick. I am not a huge fan of Impact. They do have some good wrestlers, but I guess we'll see what will happen in the weeks to come. But Don Callis is a motherfucking piece of shit. Maybe not in real life, like Ricky Starks might not be in real life, but fuck that guy right now. So basically, the match is pretty good, pretty even back and forth. There's a little spot where Moxley brings in 2 chairs. I'm like, oh my God, is he going to get disqualified? And we're not going to have a clean finish, and then it's going to be unsettled and whatever, which we end up getting anyways. But they sit there in the 2 chairs. They do a little spot where they smack each other back and forth. Looks like it's fucking intense as hell. Crazy action. Then they do another couple spots and whatnot, and then we'll just get to the finish. Basically what happens is Don Callis comes down with a fucking microphone looking like he's going to distract the ref. He does distract the ref. He ends up giving Kenny Omega the microphone, or somehow Kenny Omega gets the microphone, ends up hitting Moxley. Moxley's busted open, and then basically they make it so that Kenny puts Moxley out of his misery, giving him like 6 V triggers, ends up dropping him with the one-winged angel, and then ends it, and the Moxley era is over. Just like that. 20-something wins in 0. And just like that, the Moxley era is over. I don't get it, but I get it. Like, I get it as a business standpoint. The man's had it for fucking ever. But I really cannot wait to see when Moxley's the champion when there's a crowd again after the COVID season, whenever the fuck that is. Whenever COVID's done, they better give that belt back to where it belongs, to Moxley, so that the Moxley era can continue. I'm not a huge fan of Kenny Omega, but I do like him. But I don't want him as my champion. I want Moxley all day, every day, fucking people up, putting people through tables, putting people through barbed wire, thumbtacks, beating himself to a bloody pulp. I want to see violence, man. I love that type of wrestling. Call me what you will. Call me an asshole. Call me a fucking douchebag. Call me a cuck. I don't give a fuck. I think that Moxley should be our champion, and I don't think this is over. At the end, Don Callis and Omega end up running away, and I think they're hinting at the Montreal screw job and making fun of that whole situation because Moxley was screwed. Simple as that. I said at the exact same time as Tony Schiavone, bullshit. It was complete bullshit. I felt like I was watching the Buffalo Bills getting fucked by the Patriots back when Brady was with the Patriots. I just don't get it, why they would fuck them over like that. It just seems so screwy, and I think that Moxley's not yet done. And basically what happens, Omega, Callis run away. They get to this like SUV, and Callis is like, you'll hear about it on Tuesday. You'll hear about it on Tuesday. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you old cocksucker? Wednesday's Dynamite. And I think Alex Marvez was the interviewer or whoever is like, yo, Wednesday's Dynamite, not Tuesday. You're going to talk about it on Dark? And he's like, no, on Impact, on Impact. And thus, the Impact AEW partnership starts. And I think it's okay. I think it'll be cool. You know, seeing a wrestling company acknowledge another wrestling company, not just fan them out and, you know, block them out like they're nothing, that they don't exist. Because they do. If it wasn't for these independent wrestlers and wrestlers in other no-name companies, you probably wouldn't have up-and-coming stars, you know? We'll see what happens. I think it'll give an opportunity to Impact Wrestling to maybe wrestle in front of some fans and not just wrestle in an empty fucking warehouse that it looks like anyways. Because the shows are not that great because it's so fucking quiet. I can't stand it. Like, pump in some crowd noise if you have to, for fuck's sakes. But we'll see what happens. They even mention the Montreal Screwjob. Not directly, but JR is saying, it looked like a screw job. And then they even post stuff on Twitter that seems like the screw job. Like when Vince McMahon said, Bret screwed Bret Hart. Don Callis posted that AEW screwed AEW. Like, come on. How much closer can you fucking get? You know what I mean? They screwed him over. Looks like a bunch of assholes. And I hope Moxley comes to Impact, fucks everybody up, gets his belt back, and brings it back where it belongs, to the AEW fucking world, man. We'll see what happens, though. It'll be awesome. Wrestling's awesome right now. We're going to get into something even awesomer. That's not even a word, but it's so awesome that it's awesomer. So, we're going to get up into the Cucked Up story on That's Cucked. If you want to donate to the podcast, make sure you go to the Anchor page. Check that shit out. I've just set that up. Help me out so I can help you out. We can make this podcast better. I know I'm just sitting here talking about wrestling most of the time, but we can talk about other shit too. Talking about a time when I was partying. I was hanging out with a bunch of people that weren't even my friends, I don't feel like. I think I only knew some of them, but I was friends with like 4 of them. We were hanging, doing crazy shit at the time. It was some time ago, a galaxy far, far away. We were at this house. I was already fucked up as shit. Walking in the house, chilling. We're listening to music, chit-chatting, all that shit. It was loud, but like whatever. I'll set the mood a little bit better. I sound like I'm fucking dumb as shit right now. Okay. So, I go into this 2-story looking house that I think might have been an apartment. I don't fucking know, but I walk in, it's pretty cool. There's like tapestries and some other shit that I don't remember on the wall. And we're all hanging out, smoking, doing some other shit. And then all of a sudden this bitch brings out a snake. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm deathly afraid of snakes, even though I own a snake. But like, this snake was like way bigger. I don't know what the fuck it was. I think it might have been a ball python, but it might have been just like a big ass corn snake too. So I don't know, but it was scary looking. So I was like, fuck that shit. You know, like the first time you go to the zoo and you see a huge ass snake? That's what I saw in my head because I was like fucked up. And then they're trying to get me to touch it and shit. And I'm like, nah, B. And so they go around and like everyone checks out the snake. Some people hold it, all that good stuff. Then, like, a couple hours goes by, so we're, like, super fucked up by then. I think I drank, like, tequila, vodka, some whiskey, I don't even remember, and then I was smoking and doing other shit. And we're hanging and whatever, and then this motherfucker comes in looking like Silent Bob with a trench coat, but not in the face. He looked like some like Harry Potter looking motherfucker in the face. And this dude's like, yo, yeah, I was just stopping in for a sec, blah, 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 blah. Then it come to find out he's got his motherfucking rat chilling in the car because he just like stopped in for a sec. And he's like, oh yeah, let me go get my rat. So then this motherfucker brings a rat up to where we have a fucking snake going around. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm going to watch this man's pet rat get fucked up by this snake. And I'm just like, what is happening right now? So then this dude in the trench coat looking like he's going to flash everyone his cock, but instead he flashes everyone his rat. And he's like, hey, this is whatever the fuck his rat name was. Probably like something like, I don't know. We'll just call him Stuart Little. So this Stuart Little fucking rat doesn't look like Stuart Little, though. It was like brown or some shit. More looking like Ratatouille or some shit, but without the food. And he's like showing everybody the rat, and I'm like, fuck that shit, because I had a gerbil one time and it ate my sister's, or no, my sisters ate mine. I'm just not about that rodent shit, son. The only rats or mice I'm seeing are the ones I'm feeding to my snakes, son. But fuck that. Yeah, gerbils, rodents, all that stuff. Get the fuck out of here with that. So this dude's passing his rat around. I think he's even got like this little like thing for him. I don't fucking remember. But so that rat's going around, and then eventually the bitch with the snake pulls out a snake and is like, yo, let's have them meet each other. And I'm like, no fucking way. This is about to fucking happen. And I'm like, holy shit. What the fuck, dude? I'm like, there's a snake and a rat in the same fucking room. This is gonna be bad. It's like seeing a fucking gasoline next to a seeing gasoline next to a fire. It's just gonna be insane when it just fucking blows up, or when that snake eats that rat. So I'm like, oh my God. I look to like a couple of my friends and I'm like, yo, are we in a fucking movie right now? There's like drugs going around, bud going around, drinks, there's fucking music, and then there's a rat and a snake, and these two fucking people about to make them meet. Not mate, meet. Like, that's fucking predator, prey, like, what? So I'm like sitting there probably just as confused as all of you listening to this right now. And they like put the rat up to the snake, and the dude with the rat's like bugging because he's like, yo, my rat's about to get eaten. And she's like, come on, just have them meet each other, like it'll be fine, blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, this is gonna be so fucking bad. This guy's whole fucking life is gonna be ruined for all we know, because he looks like he's from Harry fucking Potter, and those people had fucking rats too, right? Like Ron turned into a fucking rat, didn't he? Or somebody? I don't fucking remember. I don't watch that stupid shit anymore. Anyways, I watched it when I was a kid. I don't remember it now. Lots of brain cells killed, obviously, by this fucking story. And they like put the rat up to Snake, and then he's like, all right, I'm good, like whatever. And she's like, no. And she's like still like forcing the snake on this fucking rat. And I'm like, this is still gonna be the worst fucking experience of our lives, because we're about to just see death in front of us. But anyways, to make a long ass story short, they never end up killing each other, but there was a lot of drugs going around, and a rat and a snake, and it was just a weird time. We ended up hanging out for the rest of the night. Once everything was gone, we were like, fuck that, like anybody else would. And we tried to leave, and one of our friends was not good enough to leave, so she ended up staying. She backed up in all these garbage cans and shit. It was so funny. But we ended up going home because we were good by then, and we got home safe and sound. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was fucked up. No snakes were harmed. No rats were harmed. So it was a good time. That's my cucked up story, and that's Cucked this week. I hope you enjoyed. And now we will get into the cucked up moment of the week. And the cucked up moment of the week is just that Sting is back. Go watch the video. I'll leave the I'll leave the little link in the description of his return. That is my cucked up moment of the week, of the year, of the century, of my life. Like I tweeted out to AEW. It was insane. It made me feel young again. I hope it makes you feel young again when you watch it. I hope that this has been an okay episode. I know it's a little bit longer. I'm just kind of going with the flow at this point. Make sure that you check me out on Anchor, Spotify. I know I'm on a few other podcast sites now. So if you want to hear me on something else that's not popular for some unknown reason, I'm on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts now, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. Go follow me, like me on all of those. If you'd like to donate $1 or 69 cents or $4.20, go ahead. Whatever you want to donate. If you don't want to donate, that's fine too. Everything sucks right now because of COVID, so I totally get it. But if you want to help a brother out, help a fellow cuck, donate for good luck. Thank you. I'm your host, Nick, and that's Cuck.
That's good.